Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast, on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. To Israel we go, actually to the old city of Jerusalem. With us right now is Batya Bert-Oved, the founder of WesternWallPrayers, where you can send your prayers and they pray for a loved one for 40 days. It was started by Batya and her husband, who passed away about 8 years ago. He was famous, Gershon Bird. In fact, there's a book about him that's called The Secret Life of Gershon Bird, and she's continuing this service of providing prayers for people around the world at the Western Wall, at the Kotel. 18 years, formerly a corporate lawyer from Canada, and we're speaking to her in Jerusalem. Good to have you on the program.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're celebrating your 18th year of doing the Western Wall, prayers.org. How did it get started?
So my husband's great question. My husband actually had been dating for 5 years in Jerusalem and Chicago and New York, everywhere. And thank God he was a good guy. He was on the top of every matchmaker's list. And it just wasn't happening for him. He had dated 50 girls until people actually gave up on him and said, there must be something wrong with him. So he said, oh my gosh, God, what am I going to do? There's just you left. So someone told him about the segula of going to the Kotel for 40 days. So he decided to go and pray for 40 consecutive days at the Kotel. And actually, while he was doing this, someone that he lived with in secret also went to the Kotel for 40 days for him. And at the end of both of their 40 days, I actually wound up meeting him. And at the beginning of their 40 days, I was a year away from dating. So I had a huge, huge life change of events during those 40 days. And then a couple weeks later, we were engaged. So I was so excited about it. I told my best friend in Toronto, I said, get on a plane, come to my wedding and stay here for 40 days. And so she did. I picked her up right before Shkia, right before sunset. We went straight to the old city, to the Kotel, and she faithfully stayed here for 40 days until on the 40th day, someone flew in to meet her and actually proposed that week. So we said, that's it. We're giving this out to the world. I started praying at the Kotel for literally random people. Everywhere I went for Shabbos, I said, tell me what you want me to pray for. And actually my friend who had gotten engaged after the 40 days, her husband owned a business where he made websites for people. So he said, I'm giving you a website. And my husband said, I'm giving you a program. And I said, okay, I guess I'll start a website and we'll see. And 18 years later, thank God, we are very, very, very blessed to do something I believe in, I love, and that truly helps very holy people become even holier.
Now, I'm curious, you mentioned that you were a year away from dating when that 40-day period started, when your husband-to-be was praying. So I was curious to know what happened in that 40 days that you changed your mind. Was there something special that occurred?
Yeah, it was very funny, actually. I was in a seminary where I actually didn't have permission to date. I had to, go through a certain amount of classes and a certain amount of maturity, let's say. And what happened was just during that month, I was having all of these experiences in the seminary where I literally couldn't be there anymore. And I went to a gadol and I said, I don't know what's going on, but something very strange is happening to me. I'm having allergic reactions every time I walk into a classroom. It's very strange. And he said, you have permission to leave. And which is funny because I'd gone to him many times before saying, is it time now to leave? Is it time now? And he never said, but now he said, you have permission to leave. And as soon as I went to a different seminary, someone came up to me and said, I know your zivug. I know your soulmate. And I said, really? And they said, yeah, just let me know when you're ready. I said, okay. I wasn't ready, but that's okay. So I got married anyway, and it all worked out.
Yeah. But, also you struggled, and you also are a motivational speaker, because when your husband died 8 years ago, a tragic drowning, he left you with 5 kids under 9 years of age. It must have been so hard on you.
So that's probably the understatement of the day. Yeah.
Right.
Put it this way, it was an event that I could never possibly imagine would have happened to me. And it was something I couldn't possibly imagine getting through and getting beyond. And yet somehow I'm sitting here 8 years later, married, happy, shocked. But I guess that's what happens when, God is with you and helps you through. And thank God, community, Torah, Tefillos, the kotel, prayer of the kotel, everything. I had 5 kids under the age of 9. My youngest was 1 year old, and I had no family here. My parents were sick. I was actually their power of attorney also. They were in a different country. And it was beyond something that I thought was insurmountable. But now I look back and I think, gosh, I know exactly how to help someone get through this, which is shocking. But when you're in it, it's insurmountable. And when you get past it, it's like, wow, I climbed that mountain, and you get so many gifts along the way that you don't even realize. When God throws you something that you can't possibly handle, you grab on with both hands to God and anything spiritual, and you go and you find this incredible potential that was latent inside of you. We all have it.
No, it's so inspiring, so admirable that you were able to continue and you're able to grow and help people, and you're able to continue what you and your former husband started, the Western Wall Prayers, right? .org. So you started something to help people, and you continued, and you're keeping it alive and growing and prospering.
Thank God. It's such a blessing. I feel like it's the purpose of my life, and I feel like anybody that hears anything that I have to say makes it all worth it.
So how does it work? Because, you look around and you see everybody's pitching, you contact us and we're going to have people davening for you, whether it's at the Kotel, other places around the world, Kivrei Tzaddik and Graves of the Righteous. So how does it work with the Western Wall Prayers group, .org? It's different. You do something a little unique. So tell us about it.
So I can't speak for everybody, but I do know that in general, when you give a name to any organization, that's sort of the last of it. You gave your tzedakah and, you gave your charity and you feel good about it. And, somewhere along the line, someone's going to be saying your name. So that's wonderful, but we are very, very different because we really, really want, as much as the person wants, to help them through their pain. Meaning, when they come to us, they actually know, we tell them who the person is that's going to be praying for them. They have pictures of them. We tell them a little bit about them. And the people tell us however much they want us to know. The truth is that I actually don't even know who we're praying for, because I think that the privacy is one of the most important things that a person can have. So I have an assistant that deals with all of that. But to the extent that anybody wants me to know that we're praying for them, I'm happy to come in. We compose their prayer for them based on what they're going through, based on what rabbis have told us, and then we actually send it back to them. We send it back to them and we tell them exactly what day we're starting, exactly the nusach, meaning exactly the words we're going to be praying for them, and exactly who is going to be praying for which days. And then if they want, we'll actually send it to them every single day with a picture of the kotel, and we'll suggest for them mitzvahs to take on during the time, because that's actually very, very powerful. We are going to be doing the majority of the work, but we also feel that it's very important for the person themselves to be very, very connected to it by them praying themselves too. So they know every single day what prayer we're saying that day. And at the end, we contact them again with a picture of their shaliach. And to the extent that they want to, many people often actually keep in touch. They'll send money to the person that prayed for them. Maybe they have a wedding coming up of one of their kids, and they actually feel oftentimes the effect of different, we call them shlichim, the prayer shlichim, meaning like a prayer messenger. So sometimes people will say, you know what, in those 40 days, I felt so much happening. I want that guy to pray for me again. Please connect me with that person, because I really felt those prayers helping me so much. And other times they'll say, you know what, let's try somebody else. And sometimes we'll even give a few different prayers to a few different people and see how people feel, because most people that are really connected can actually see what's happening in their life during the 40 days shift a little bit.
Now, who are these individuals? How do you choose them? How do you get them? What are some of their backgrounds?
So thank God there is a huge and very, very pious community in the Old City. Most of them belong to a yeshiva called Zilberman's, which is a yeshiva that is related. You've heard of them? Yeah. So they're basically descendants of the Vilna Gaon, the Gra, who actually sent his Talmidim, who sent his students to the Old City centuries ago to rebuild the Chorva synagogue. And he said that Mashiach will come faster if we rebuild the holy spaces, especially the Old City. In fact, Rav Kanievsky, Zatzal actually said that anybody who can live in the old city should, because it brings Mashiach closer. So when people actually asked whether or not to open a kollel in the old city versus another place that was a little bit more sneas, he said you should open it in the old city because Torah in the old city will bring Mashiach closer. So we have all of these incredibly pious people who are learning every single day and who are paying, a little bit more than the rent would be out, somewhere in the desert for the sake of actually bringing Mashiach. And they have that in their Masorah, they have that in their tradition, that they should be Mesiras Nefesh, meaning they should self-sacrifice for the sake of the klal and bring Torah more to holy places. They want to keep places holy. So all of these people, I could barely touch, the bottom of their shoes. And all I want to do is just say, however much I can help support you to do whatever you do, let me do it. Let me have a share and chelik in what it is you do. So we have a plethora of incredible Talmidei Chachamim with incredibly fine midos who go every day. And all I say is, coming from the corporate world and having been a lawyer, all I say is, please feed your family doing something holy. Don't have to go out to be a lawyer like I had to be. Stay learning, stay being a rabbi.
Do you miss being a lawyer? Do you miss being a lawyer?
No. But no, all respect to every lawyer out there who's doing good things and happy and, bringing home money to their family to do all the good things that they do. But it wasn't for me.
Have you had any requests for a lawyer saying, can you pray for 40 days for me that I shouldn't be a lawyer?
You know what? Too little. Where are those people?
Right.
Yeah.
We're speaking with
I think they just know they have no hope at this point,
Right. It's you get sucked into it. It's hard because you're working day and night when you're especially a corporate lawyer. So it's a
golden handcuffs. Yep.
And I guess you don't miss it from what it sounds like.
Sorry, no.
Our
Thank
guest,
you, God.
the former corporate lawyer, you can tell she's so excited that she's not a corporate lawyer anymore. And she's Batya Bert-Oved, the founder of WesternWallPrayers, that organization, where they pray for you for 40 days in the holy city of Jerusalem at the Kotel.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
We're speaking about Batya Bert-Oved, the founder of WesternWallPrayers.org. They pray for you for 40 days. Now, from what I understand, lots of organizations pray for people at the Kotel, but they have long lists. Are you, is it an exclusive kind of prayer where they just daven just for you?
Right. So we actually have a lot of different options. I wanted to make sure that anybody who wants prayers at the Kotel can get prayers at the Kotel. So basically, we ask for a donation of the same amount that it would take to actually take a bus to and from the old city. Something like 8-9 shekels a day. It's like $2.50 a day. So I want to make sure that's for sure. But for those people, the person will be praying for them plus a few other people in their visit. They will also be saying Tehillim, Psalms for them, and give tzedakah every single time before they go. However, somebody who wants to put a little bit more into their prayers, they can actually get a person to go to the Kotel only for them. It's called an exclusive prayer, and we ask for a donation of $9 a day because obviously it's a very big deal to go to the Kotel just for one person. I still think it's absolutely nothing. Having done the 40 days 3 times myself, having lived in the old city for about 20 years, I've done the 40 days either 3 or 4 times. That's it. And the rest of the time, I actually donate to have someone go myself. Is that crazy? It's just, I know what a big deal it is. It must be the first priority in your life for 1.5 months. You cannot go away for Shabbat, not with your family, not for a simcha, for nothing. You have to make sure to be there. One time I actually went to the other side of the country and back within 36 hours to be able to come again for the next prayer. People do incredible things. They walk all the way from the other side of Jerusalem on Shabbat just to be able to get to the Kotel to keep it 40 days. So yeah, we even have a minyan of men from Vada Rabbanan at some point actually do tefillos for people if they want to get 10 men coming together. We have also near the Kodesh Kadoshim. We have many, many different options depending on, what your tzedakah budget is and what you want to pray for. But so I want to make sure that everyone can do this.
Where does the money go to, by the way?
So we're officially called Kolel Tefilat Moshe. We're an extra Kolel. And so the people that are praying are also getting an extra learning check for their learning in the afternoon. It's a second kollel check, basically. So
So it
yes,
helps
it's
the
tzedakah.
kollel students.
It's Torah in the Old City. Sorry?
No, it helps the kollel students.
Yes, absolutely. It helps them to be able to learn and to be able to support their family here, and not having to go out and do the menial work that we all do.
Now, you mentioned before that the people who looking for prayers for davening will get a picture of the person davening for them. Does it also work in the reverse? Do the people who are davening will get a picture of the people that they're davening for?
If the person who we're praying for, we're the donors, if they would like that, then we will do it. So if they want their privacy, we will not do that. And if they want the person to know who they are and to be connected to them and to even, bring it to the kotel, then we absolutely will.
Now,
It's up to them.
now you have these kollel young men that are davening for them, but I know your prayers were very powerful too, because you daven for a friend. You ever get a request that for women to daven for women, for example?
So we actually have a Rebbitzin that there's actually a few Rebbitzins here and there, but we have one particular who's extremely special. She's been doing the 40 days well before WesternWallPrayers was open. She has been doing the 40 days for everyone around the world. Her life is prayer. She's at all the different kfarim, all the different, tombs around Israel all the time, every Rosh Chodesh. And she could see her at the wall every day for the last 40 years with this big menorah and all these different Tehillim, and nobody knows what planet she's on, but she is, thank God, she's a wonderful lady. Yes, we definitely have that option
I
available.
figured, because I know some people are specific, or some people can have more than one person daven for them too, right?
Yeah, which I often suggest, actually. People that look, if a person comes to us in a good situation where the person is ready to get married and they're in a good state, they just haven't found the right person, great, 40 days, get one person done. If a person comes to us and their family member is at, stage 4 and they're in the hospital in ICU, I said, get a few people now, because you don't know who's going to be the voice that's going to crack it open, but do whatever you can.
Now, I would assume that an organization such as yours, around for 18 years, you have approbations, haskamas from leading rabbis, leading rabbanim in Israel about what you do.
So we're actually very, very lucky, because most rabbis don't give haskamas to things like this. But we have a few rabbis that actually attest to our credibility. And Rav Avigdor Nevensal, who's a very big gadol, he's the chief rabbi of the Old City. He gave us an official haskama to testify about how the tzedakah money is going to literally feed families in the Old City, many families.
I would assume over 18 years, you must have some incredible stories, aside from what you mentioned, of people who were prayed for at the Kotel, at the Western Wall, where some amazing things happen. Perhaps you can share one or two stories with us.
Sure. Okay. And the truth is, actually, even every day when I just came for Shabbos from someone, and she said, "Oh, I swear by you guys, every time something happens in my life, those prayers really work." I said, "Great. Why don't you share them with me?" I never knew that. But I'll tell you the ones that people do share, and I'll tell you some incredible stories. Usually it doesn't happen like this. Usually it's, "Oh, I met the guy, and can you believe it? We actually were suggested on the 40th day," or something normal. But I'll tell you this one story.
Did you say on the 40th day?
Yeah, and that's a normal story. That's a good normal story. On the 40th day, we were suggested. On the 40th day, we got engaged.
But I said was not the 40th day, but the 40th date. So,
oh, that's funny.
That's
That's definitely not a success story around us. But okay, we have a guy who's such an incredible person, because he keeps coming back with and he just always has story after story. But I'll tell you the first way we got introduced to him. It was during the recession, I believe, of 2008. And he saw the writing on the wall. There were people getting laid off, left, right, and center in his business. And he came to us because he wanted to pray that his job would be okay and he wouldn't lose it. And so finally we started to pray that he should have, success in his job and stability, et cetera, et cetera. What happened? After the 40th day, he was a salesman in a big company, and he misquoted something to a supplier, and he wound up getting involved in a crazy lawsuit. He wound up actually entangling his entire firm in something bad. And he said, oh my gosh, I just prayed and look what happened. But he was really wonderful. He didn't say, oh, God didn't answer my prayers. Look what God's doing. What, I don't get it. What's happening? He said, I know this is for the good. I trust. Let's do it again. So we prayed again for 40 days. And through this whole time, we were talking to him about emunah, bitachon, faith, trusting that this is a test. Sometimes it's a test in order to get you to come out of yourself, to be able to really trust God in no matter what he's doing. So this is where we went with him, and he went with us on it. Things got even worse after the 40 days. We're thinking, oh my gosh, what's happening? But the guy's character traits, his mitos were so good. He just kept saying, I know, I believe that God is with me. It's okay. Things are getting worse, but I know God is with me. We did a third round of 40 days. You know what happened? So this guy passed his test. This guy, actually, everything was dropped in terms of the lawsuit, and he started selling whatever he sells, because he didn't tell me what he sells. Started selling like hotcakes, whatever he was selling, more. Not only did he keep his job, he became the #1 salesperson that year in a company of 35,000 people around the world.
Wow.
He got a trophy. He got a trophy. He got brought to a ceremony in front of the entire, in a huge olam, and he got given a trophy and a $10,000 bonus, and was Employee of the Year.
Wow. Never give up. That's the motto. Never give up.
Never give up. And not only never give up, but really always trust God. You don't know what's going around the corner. It might just be a test to say, are you still with me? Do you still believe that I hear your prayers? It was an unbelievable lesson. And you should just know, at the very end of the story, he said to me, what I never told you was that I'm not Jewish.
Wow.
And what I never told you was that not only am I not Jewish, but I am from the country of Iran. He said, I don't live there anymore. I'm against the government of my people. My family is still there. That's why I never told you, because it's dangerous for me to be in contact with you. But you should just know that if the God of Israel was so good to a person who is a part of the enemy of the people of Israel, how much more so is he good to you?
Wow. Amazing story. Did he end up converting?
He's still not Jewish, but I think he keeps the Noahide laws these days. He sends us pictures from all over the Kfarim in the Ukraine. Oh, not these days, but he sent me pictures of him actually praying for me and my family at the Baal Shem Tov's Kever in Uman. This guy is the most connected non-Jew I have ever met.
Wow. By the way, in Morocco, and I'm sure it must be true in Iran, a lot of Muslims pray at the Kivrei Tzaddikim, the graves of the righteous, of the saints. And it's very common in some of the Arab countries where you see that happening. We just a few moments left. Batya Bird Ovej is with us, the founder of the WesternWallPrayers.org. And did you ever get any questions as to why you didn't also add Kotel.org or change it to that, or is that taken?
I think it was taken, yeah, but people don't look that far, really.
Okay, no, it's easy for people to remember. It's WesternWallPrayers.org. And I would assume that the days before Pesach and Rosh Hashanah time are probably some of the busiest times of the year where people are looking for prayers.
Right. So this is actually a very powerful time because Purim just happened, which is one of the biggest prayer days of the year. Yom HaKippurim is basically, Yom Kippur is a day like Purim. Purim was the highest. And now we're getting on to Pesach. So this is really one of the biggest 40 days of the year as we get to and approach the end of Pesach. So I actually encourage people to now sign up. We're very busy, but we're very happy about it.
Batya Bird Ovej, the founder of WesternWallPrayers.org, around for 18 years, and they pray for you for 40 days in the Holy City of Jerusalem at the Kotel, as you heard. Thank you for keeping it up. I know it's much better. You enjoy much better than being a corporate lawyer, which you did in your previous lifetime. Continued success, and people can just access you just very easily by going to the website, WesternWallPrayers.org.
That's right. That's the easiest way to go about it.
Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
We got to speak in 40 days.
Sounds good. Well, just tell me what you want me to pray for.
Okay. We all can use good health, right? And we need peace in the world, especially in what's happening in Ukraine. There's so much to do.
Definitely.
Thanks for listening.
Definitely.
For continuous Jewish programs, TalklineNetwork.com, or our 24-hour day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms, or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the TalklineNetwork.com.
Talkline Network Radio, America's longest running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.